The roar of thousands of fans rolled through the stadium long before the opening whistle. 12 nations had gathered with one shared objective: to prove they belonged among the world's elite rugby teams. Every player stood proudly during the national anthem. Every supporter believed history was about to unfold, and every television camera focused on what looked like the beginning of a truly united international competition. From the outside, everything appeared perfectly balanced. Every team had earned its place, every match carried equal importance, and every player was preparing to sacrifice everything for national pride. But beneath that inspiring image was a reality that very few people ever noticed. As I explored the financial side of international rugby, one question became impossible to ignore. How could athletes playing in the same tournament, following the same rules, risking the same injuries, and representing their countries with the same determination receive such dramatically different rewards? Picture two international stars walking onto the field together. They exchange handshakes before kickoff, battle through 80 brutal minutes of tackles, scrums, and relentless pressure, and leave the pitch completely exhausted. Their effort is equal, their courage is unquestionable, and their commitment never fades. Yet after the match ends, one player returns home with a payment worth tens of thousands of euros, while the other earns only a few £100s. The game is identical. The danger is identical. The passion is identical. Only the financial reward tells a completely different story. This is one of the biggest hidden realities in modern international rugby. The Nations Championship was introduced with a bold promise. It was presented as the tournament that would finally connect rugby's northern and southern powers into one global competition. Fans were told that the future would be more competitive, more exciting, and more balanced than ever before. On paper, it sounded like the perfect solution. But once details about player payments started becoming public, many supporters began asking whether true equality had really arrived. Some of rugby's wealthiest unions have built powerful financial systems over decades. Players representing countries like France and England can receive substantial match fees, annual retainers, sponsorship income, and performance bonuses. Their domestic leagues generate enormous television revenue, attract packed stadiums, and secure lucrative commercial partnerships that continue strengthening the game year after year. Meanwhile, players from smaller rugby nations often experience a completely different reality. Many train with fewer resources, travel longer distances, and sometimes balance rugby with careers outside professional sport. Despite making the same physical sacrifices on the field, their financial compensation remains only a small fraction of what players from richer rugby nations receive. For these athletes, wearing their country's jersey is driven far more by pride than financial security. Even so, history repeatedly proves that money does not determine courage. Teams led by stars like Sia Khaleesi, Ardie Saviour, Pieter-Steph du Toit, Antoine Dupont, Maro Itoje, and Semi Radradra have all shown that determination, discipline, and teamwork often matter far more than financial advantage. Every season delivers new surprises, reminding supporters that the heart of rugby cannot simply be measured by salaries. Behind every successful team also stands a coach responsible for shaping its identity. Leaders such as Rassie Erasmus, Scott Robertson, Fabian Golfi, Steve Borthwick, Andy Farrell, and Joe Schmidt spend countless hours preparing their squads for the smallest tactical details. Their strategies influence matches, but even the best coaching cannot completely erase financial differences that exist between rugby nations. The story becomes even more complex when salaries beyond match fees are considered. Several Southern Hemisphere players receive central contracts that provide annual income regardless of individual test appearances. Others rely heavily on contracts with professional clubs competing in Europe or Japan. Wealthier rugby nations possess stronger domestic competitions capable of offering higher salaries, while smaller unions often struggle to prevent their best players from leaving for overseas opportunities. That creates an ongoing cycle. Financially powerful unions attract better sponsors, stronger television agreements, and larger crowds. Those additional resources increase player salaries, improve facilities, strengthen youth development, and make their competitions even more valuable. Smaller rugby nations continue producing world-class talent, but retaining that talent becomes increasingly difficult as international opportunities expand elsewhere. Despite these differences, one thing remains identical across every nation. Every player experiences the same nervous moments before kickoff. Every family watches with hope from the stands or from home. Every child dreams of one day wearing the national jersey. Those emotions cannot be measured by money, contracts, or commercial agreements. They represent the true spirit of rugby. The nation's championship still has the opportunity to become one of the sport's greatest achievements. Bringing elite teams together on a regular basis creates unforgettable matches, introduces new rivalries, and offers developing rugby nations greater international exposure. If managed fairly, the competition could generate additional revenue that benefits every participating union rather than only the strongest financial powers. However, many supporters believe lasting success requires more than exciting fixtures and packed stadiums. It also requires transparent financial policies, improved player welfare, responsible revenue sharing, and continued investment across every rugby nation. The game has always celebrated respect, teamwork, discipline, and integrity. Many now argue those values should also guide how the sport rewards the athletes who make international rugby possible. As another nation's championship approaches, one important question remains unanswered. Can international rugby truly call itself united if players representing different countries continue receiving dramatically different financial rewards for the very same competition? Only time will reveal the answer. Until then, millions of supporters will continue watching every tackle, every try, every victory, and every heartbreaking defeat. They will celebrate the courage shown by players from every nation, regardless of the size of their paycheck. Because when the whistle blows and the match begins, the scoreboard never measures salaries.